I love your amazing backdrop there. Are those all, what are all those? That looks so cool.
So most of the stuff behind me is Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise with some other random stuff from the 80s and 90s mixed in.
So are you a Tim Burton fan, or is it just that movie in particular?
No, I'm a huge Tim Burton fan.
Yeah, me too.
Literally, the reason why I'm doing any of this stuff today is because of Tim Burton.
Yeah, he's one of the masters of all time in my mind as well.
Ah, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I'm just a big fan and supporter of his work. And I know some of the later stuff isn't as great as the stuff from the 80s and 90s, but he still has imagination like no other.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, my first question to you, Josh, is were you aware and did you read the book prior to doing the film?
Man, I absolutely was. I wasn't necessarily a direct practitioner of The Secret, but I knew about it. What I was fascinated by was the science behind it. The ideas that like people like Einstein and Socrates and these thinkers and scientists had asked this question forever and even tried to study it, to study the idea of how the mind is capable of drawing towards it good energy or negative energy. And that I have no doubt that there is power to it and great truth to it. And so when I reread the book before making the movie, I was really struck by the words that this character says. And I honestly, as much as possible, attempt to follow it. And I would say I struggle with it like anyone. It's almost like, and I keep saying it's not necessarily whether you believe in The Secret or you believe in prayer or you believe in meditation or whatever it is that you decide that helps you be somebody, particularly in these times, that is able to navigate the dark waters that we're in better. I mean, that's what this is about, right? And that's why the movie, I think, is a really, like you say, it's a very lovely work of good energy, attempting to put that out there and say, and particularly for like young families where I can tell you, I have a 7-year-old boy, and this summer's been really hard for him, and he's never had hardships before, but he's confused. Like, why can't he see his friends? Why can't he go to the skate park? Like all that stuff. And so trying to help him think about these ideas that The Secret presents of like, if you're unhappy about what you don't have, it's much harder than if you are grateful for what you do have. And that's a constant battle, basically.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you one of the things that I always think of when I watch a film like this, because I feel like it's so rare that you see a movie like this nowadays, is the idea of random acts of kindness and positivity. Can you think of like a moment in your life where something like that happened to you?
Well, this movie comes out of in a sense, a random act of kindness, in the sense of that I have this woman I've worked with forever called Deborah Owen, who's a business manager, who's like, I met her when I was 19 years old, and she's one of the closest people in my life. I tell her I love her every day, and we speak every day, and we speak about life. We really sit down and have conversations about life. And one of the things that she does is she uses prayer in her life, where she'll every day wake up and decide just purely randomly to pray for somebody, for not necessarily for money or for success or for health or whatever. She'll just pray for ideas or thoughts, not for herself, but for other people. And so 5 years ago, she said, I was praying for you last night, and I woke up and I had this very, very clear thought that you need to call Andy Tennant, the director of Sweet Home Alabama, because he's got something for you. And so it was her like, I would say, random act of prayer that I called Andy, and Andy would said, weirdly enough, man, I've got this project for you right now called The Secret. Do you know it? And I was like, in a way, she secreted the secret, like, and so I also come from a grandfather who, he had a hard life. He was a construction worker who put roofs on buildings in the South and hot weather. And he made no money, and yet at the same time, he was the most positive guy I've ever come in contact with. And one of the things that he always did was he was adamant about helping his neighbors with everything, gardening, whatever it may be. He always particularly was helping with people when they were dying, and just going to their houses and cooking and like praying for them. And he was a really interesting guy, because he had every reason to be dark and cynical, and he was the happiest guy I've ever met. And one point I asked him like why he does other things that he does, and he just said, simply, it makes me feel good. And I was like, oh, but what are you you're not getting anything out of it necessarily. And sometimes it costs you money that you don't even have. And he's like, but it makes me feel good. And I feel like there's a direct sense of that. Bray is similar. You know, Bray is somebody when Miranda's character asks him, why are you helping us? And he says, because I can, you know, and I feel like I know for myself when I do those things, with nothing manipulative in what I want from somebody, it feels the best that you can feel, you know?
I mean, I completely agree. I know we have to go, but I think whenever you have like a well-intentioned act of kindness, or if like you just want to help someone, it's the greatest gift you can give someone. So
And
thank you
we
so very much,
not just the
Josh.
greatest gift you give somebody, but also ends up, I think, being the greatest gift
For
you give yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Maybe even more so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much, Josh. It was very nice meeting you, even though it was virtually, but I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Take care. Bye.